Welcome, troopers and grinders, to UFC Riyadh season and its newest installment, the Desert 2 Electric Boogaloo. This part features all the staples of a desert spectacle, from privileged Dagestanis getting huge jumps up the rankings, to mid-regional fighters getting layup matchups, to Dana White holding hands with Turki Al-Sheikh. Whoa! It's all there at the low cost of blood and oil all over your hands, along with maybe a disappearance or two outside the building. So act now. Book a one-way walk through the Silk Road and experience the corrupt... magic! Just ask my co-host to my left, Idaho Skatesman, just how thrilling the desert is. What do you think, old pal?
Well, unfortunately, Turki Al-Sheikh won't be there because he lives in Saudi Arabia. But the correct answer would have been Mohammed bin Zayed. But
well, he can always take the plane ride, right?
Sure.
Yeah, well, I know he's going to be there. And Dana's going to be on hands and knees for him because he loves him some blood money. Anyway, we got quite the combat sports weekend for us. In the future, I had a few lines, so I really don't know what's going on. But I just woke up 5 minutes ago. But hey, Skatesman, are you excited for what's going on, man? Because I gotta tell you, PFL is going to steal the show. UFC, it been dealing with court cases, been dealing with all kinds of drama this last week. I'm telling you, man, we got a new crown up on the throne. Let's take a look at some of our PFL picks. How about it, Skatesman? Why don't you pull me up here, pal? I'm dying over here. I'm dying.
What's up, Cool Breeze?
Hey, oh, my New Jersey boss. He put me in this suit and told me to act nice. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not fucking killing this.
Is that supposed to be a pencil in your hand?
Yes. I had a paper at one point in my hand.
You should have stacked the papers. We'll get it down. It's a live show. It's a work in progress. Let's see what you got.
All right. So first off, we got Kevin Peace versus Nick Meck.
This card is going on right now. So
okay. So I have no idea what. Wait, hold on. I wonder if I restart, something will happen. Let's take a look here. Work in progress, as Idaho Skatesman was telling. And Kevin Peace just beat Nick Meck by unanimous decision. Incredible war. I totally saw it live all the way through. Then we have Jaleel Willis versus Anthony Ivy, the cousin of Poison Ivy from the Batman series. I wonder who will win this thrilling contest. One of them's from Texas, the other isn't. Ooh. Then we got Sergio Cosio versus Dedrick Sanders. I didn't know Dedrick was even a name. So
do we really have to go through this whole card?
Okay, so anyway, Sergio Cosio. I do like Cody Law, though, against Zachary Hicks. I just like seeing Cody Law. I like his fights. I like his style. So hopefully Cody Law gets a win. And then we got my my lock for the evening, Alexei Pergande versus Daniel Bollet. Let me pull up my lock that I got for that card. Here we go. Cool Breeze, nice to see you, Cool Breeze. Thank you for attending the podcast. Pleasure, my pleasure. So I got Pergande by round 1 submission. That's how he's been getting most of his fights done. Meanwhile, Daniel Bollet has a tendency to get submitted. That is how he's being finished in most of his fights. He has not been knocked out, so I will say that is might be a problem for Pergande if he gets us past the first round. But I like Pergande's rear naked choke game, no diddy. And he's been able to do it to his last couple opponents, and Daniel Bollet doesn't exactly have the greatest record in the world. So give me Pergande by round 1 submission. Let's move on to the rest of our card, shall we? Hold on. Stop the presses. Next, we got Tyrell Fortune versus Sergey Bilosteny.
Yeah, so my friend actually wrestled with Tyrell Fortune. He's a good friend of his in high school. And, yeah, Tyrell's a solid dude. Hoping that he wins, got the buddy of mine always rooting for him. He's a little up and down. His cardio isn't the best, but, I mean, let's be honest. He's kind of a fat heavyweight. Nothing too impressive about him and his record. I mean, he only has 2 losses. I believe his 2 losses were reputable people. So,
nice.
But he's fighting a man named Sergey. That's never a good matchup. But he got the wrestling chops. It's just the cardio. We'll see if the cardio holds up into the third round. Got some knockout power, but yeah, I'm hoping he gets that one done.
Me too. Do you see him having a ceiling somewhere in the heavyweight division, given he is a fat heavyweight?
I mean, there is levels, levels
to this shit.
But
Ferreira, right? I think Renan Ferreira is a pretty unstoppable monster at that weight class so far, and he's actually not fat, so that's why he's on top. He's knocking out a lot of people.
This is that tournament though? So, what the fuck was he? Was he even on the last? Was he even on a PFL card prior to this? I think this was a PFL debut.
I saw him on a PFL card before.
Oh, got it. Well, I don't know. It's a nice thing about. Let's see. Check this out. It's a nice thing about PFL is sometimes. Oh yeah, he's 1-0. Marcelo Golm. That's a good win. That's a solid win. Good for him.
And he won against Sergey, who is on the card as well. Oh, he won against him in Bellator, so this is actually a rematch.
All right, let's go, Sergey. The next fight is Tyler Santos versus Liz Carmouche. That's a good one. That's a solid fucking matchup. They put what's her fucking stupid name? I think she might be on the card. If you scroll up just a hair there. Yeah, no. So Dakota Dacheva is on the other side of the bracket. They're pushing her really hard, and they're giving her really easy matchups. Sorry to jump ahead, but this is really the real matchup is Tyler Santos versus Liz Carmouche. I think whoever wins this one is probably poised to win the whole thing.
Who do you think wins that matchup?
It's going to be close. Liz looks really good sometimes. Sometimes she – I mean, her run as of late has been very impressive. No doubt about it. But
yeah,
she's getting older. I don't know. Taylor Santos is probably. I would pick Santos decision.
All right, not bad. Respectable. I got Santos as well in that matchup because we remember that Carmouche was getting beat up by who was her last opponent? She was a Japanese.
That's right.
Fighter at her weight class, and she was sort of kicking her butt before that arm triangle.
Yes, that's the thing about Carmouche, though, man. She finds a way to win, and she's an old vet, but
scrappy.
I'm not going to count her out, but yeah, I'm going to pick Santos to get that one done.
Then we got Oleg Popov versus Linton Vassell. Give me the history behind this one.
I'm not really sure. I've seen Linton Vassell fight a litany of times. A litany of times.
Well, he's got.
He continues to be like entertaining as far as low-level heavyweights go. I like Linton Vassell. I'm going to root for him. Don't really have an official pick, but yeah, I'll just say Linton Vassell. Oleg obviously only has one loss on his record. Probably the younger guy, so yeah. he probably is the favorite. But I like Linton's style, man. He sometimes he'll fall off. He'll have a bad run, and then he'll just kind of reinvent himself, in the cage, in the smart cage. So I always like watching Linton Vassell fight.
So he's a good improver when it comes to his skills and his.
He's getting older, but yeah, like he just figures out new ways to keep it going and keep it fresh. But like I said, older heavyweight. Sometimes the third rounds of his fight aren't super entertaining, but he does dog it out. You know what I'm saying? So he's always entertaining to watch.
Seems like a smart fighter to me. Then we got the woman of your dreams, Idaho Skatesman, Dakota Dacheva versus Jenna Bishop. What do you think of this absolutely incredible, dominant female athlete, Idaho Skatesman?
I think that she's been fed cans for a reason. PFL really likes her. They want to push her, and why wouldn't you? She's a young girl. She's good looking. She's getting. The most important thing though is when people talk about these young prospects that get favorable matchups, is that you finish your opponent and you make it look good. That's what she's been doing up to this point. So, hey, nothing. The sky's the limit for her, especially if you're in favor with the matchmakers. I just have my doubts, considering her getting the easy side of the bracket. She's going up against Jenna Bishop, who is a vet. She's 7-1, actually. I feel like she's been fighting for a minute in Bellator. I think maybe she was even Bellator's little golden girl at one point.
Well, she was in Europe, in PFL Europe, and kicking ass on that scene.
Okay, so you think that this is actually probably your toughest matchup then?
I think it is. I think Jenna Bishop has come to pretty close fights. I think she got close with Tyler Santos at one point. That was sort of a scrap back and forth. You can never really count out Jenna Bishop. She's only had one loss so far, and she's been up against some solid competition. Not the best, in my opinion, but she's got enough skill to make it a fight. So I'm actually going to be excited for this one. I think it is a decent test, but one
I just kind of shit all over Dakota, but I would say this is a better matchup for her. But what's up, Vulcan? Vulcan never recognizes me. He just says Hank always. So, but yeah, good to see you regardless, Vulcan. Hope you're doing good with your amateur career, and let us know if we can watch your fights, man. We'd love to cover them on this channel. So,
and congrats to Bilal Muhammad for now. Anyway,
but yeah, I just kind of shit all over Dakota, but this will be a good one. I'll actually be interested to watch this one.
We got Denis Goltsov versus Tim Johnson. Big heavyweights, fat heavyweights. So man here.
So Tim Johnson had a pretty damn good run in the in Bellator at one point. And then they matched him up with Fyodor Emelianenko, and he got dusted by Fedor. Like, I'm talking annihilated by Fedor. The problem with Tim Johnson is he's really fat, really fat. Guy can fight, no doubt about it.
I'm fat. He's really, really fat, as Weird Al would say.
The problem with Tim, and we saw this in Fedor, which again, even old ass Fedor still got really fast hand speed. That's what really took Tim Johnson out of that fight, is he got fucking blitzed and knocked the fuck out by Fedor. And that fight actually led into Fedor getting the Ryan Bader rematch, which was sanctioned murder, to put it lightly. Denis Goltsov, another Bellator vet, I think, maybe a PFL vet. It's starting to run. It's starting to just blend in at this point. I picked Tim on the feet, but you never know, dude. I mean, these Russian dudes are kind of taking PFL over, if you ask me. So
unless your name's Ren Ferreira, in which case you're going to absolutely destroy Goltsov. So that's probably his future. Sure.
Oh, that was his last fight. Was a quick knockout.
Yes. So he's got his kryptonite.
Got it.
But overall, I like some of the matchups on this thing. Santos versus Carmouche especially. And then I do like that Deshev is actually having a jump up a little bit. But hopefully we get some action. That's all I care about. But as long as we don't have elbows and as long as we don't have knees to grounded opponents, you can only pray. You're not guaranteed.
What is up, Sean? Good to see you, my friend. And Vulcan has a question.
Oh, let's see it. Do you guys like Kosio, Sergey, Popov, and Goltsov parlay? I do like Popov in there. Sergey, I'm not sure. Like, unless you want to make some money, I'd have Tyrell Fortune in that fight because I believe he beat Sergey in Bellator. So that is still an underdog. I don't know if the change in promotion is going to help things all that much. And then Kosio, I do agree that Kosio is good. I just be careful about Sergey. That's the one risk that you have. But if you're willing to take the risk, that's a decent parlay, in my opinion.
So we're going to get into some other locks that you have for the weekend?
Yes, we are. Next, we move on over to Thailand and Shatri jail for one fight night.
Yeah, we should go over the whole card, and if you don't mind.
Let me move out then. Let me move out to the rest of the card. Idaho Skates.
Oh, he says that Fortune was losing until a DQ. Sergey was beating him. I think I remember that. It was like a foul was committed, and then I vaguely shows you how entertaining the fight must have been. So let's check this out here.
Good parlay.
I don't know. Oh my gosh, are those submission grappling bouts?
Yeah. It's Muay Thai. No, they're Muay Thai. If it's blue,
perfect.
It's Muay.
Well, I love the fact that they're starting the card off with some Muay Thai. Don't have a pick for any of those fights, but violence will ensue.
Do you know these two characters? Enk Orgel, Batarku, and Carlo Bumina-ang.
No, sir, I do not.
All right, let's move around.
I don't know.
This is why I wanted to just do my lock, damn it. Then we had Rambolek, Tor, Yotha. We get back to the Muay Thai against Craig.
Rambolek is pretty good. I'll pick Rambolek.
Nice. Do you feel?
And it is in Lumpini Stadium, right?
What the hell is even the weight class for this? I have no idea.
Are they doing it in Lumpini Stadium?
Let's take a look. It's in a book, Reading Rainbow, and it is in Lumpini. It's in Lumpini.
But one thing to keep in mind, Thailand judging is sketchy. They are getting more Japanese into the 1FC promotion, so that's good. But the MMA fights are going to really suck tonight, guys. I have bad news for you, because it is in a ring. Mm-hmm. Oh, and what's up to my good friend Kiwi? Kiwi's always making money on cards. He's got good underdog insights. So Kiwi, if you got a underdog scoop for us, please let us know. Good to see you.
He was also a very good friend of Raul Rosas Jr. And every once in a while they had that little catchphrase friendship thing they do. Kiwi, woo! They do that together in Mexico, Australia. Then we get to my lock that I have for the evening. Yosuke Saruta versus Keito Yamakita. All right, let's I saw the other ones and there were more powerful fighters, but I felt this guy is way more consistent than those guys. Yeah, good bulldog choke against Miyato. He lost against a 9-1 guy, but he beat a 12-8 and beat a 20-10. So he's beating like the lower level of the 1FC guys. And then you got Yosuke Saruta, 21-12, so getting close to a near even record. And then 3-4 is his record for 1FC, and he's been on a 3-fight losing streak against 9-4s, 19-3s. I don't like that loss to Joshua Pasiao or Gustavo Ballart. I know those are decent names, but you can't be losing to guys with sort of mediocre records. Lost to Pasiao twice as well. So he's just been in a bad mood. Hasn't been able to string anything together. And so I think I picked Yamakita because he's able to consistently go to decisions and win them. So for that reason, I'm trusting the guy who's not going to get chinned and can do good enough technical work to get it done. That's
Kiwi
what I was
Kiwi says he's been on a skid. Bilal did get me back in black for the year. Well, that's good, man. I mean, hey, we all go on skids. Take a look at my picks for the last couple of weeks. So you're not alone, my friend. But we're hoping to bounce back today. I'm still ahead of Tank in the actual pick'em contest, 5-4, but he's catching up, man.
Not for long, Mike Wazowski. Right, so I'm always
Taki Naito. That should be a good one. That's a good fight, man. That's a damn good fight. Elias, I think, was a former title challenger. Don't have an official pick for that one, but be a good fight.
Should be a scrap either way. Then we got Dmitry Kovtun versus Ferrari Fairtex. I wonder if he drives.
Ferrari Fairtex is a gangster, dude. I like Ferrari in that matchup.
Oh, big cars, automobiles, black gold, Texas. Then we got Shamil Gasanov, who I was considering picking against Aaron Cañarte. Tell me about these two.
I got nothing for you.
I guess not. I picked Gasanov just because he's got the better record. He lost to a guy who then won the interim title and was challenging for the world title. So that's the one guy he lost to. He's probably going to win, and it's going to be boring. It's in a ring. God help us. Then we got Dedu Anglick.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. Was Shamil Gazanov, was he the guy who kneed Roberto Soldic in the dick in Denver? I believe he was.
Wow, what a bastard. Let's check to see.
If I'm wrong, I look like a jackass. No, he wasn't.
Not.
Well, good.
Unless
he
did it when he was 21 years old. He lost to Gary Tunnen via knee bar, just lost via submission, then beat Ho Taek Oh, whoever the fuck that is. So that's a fight that is happening in a ring. Hooray. Then we got Deduanglek versus Nakrob Fairtex. Another Fairtex.
Yeah, Nakrob is a gangster. This will be a good fight. I'll go with Nakrob.
All the Fairtexes are gangsters. All the Fairtexes are gangsters. Then we got Felipe Lobo against Nabil Anane.
Lobo all day.
All right, there you have it. It came straight from the skatesman's mouth. Then we got the one grappling match of the evening. It is for a championship, so there's at least some hype to it.
And you know what? As much as I shit all over submission grappling in 1FC, Danielle Kelly is pretty fucking good. She's insanely flexible. I watched her get her back taken, and she literally slipped out the front and took the other girl's back. She's like a contortionist, dude. So hard to submit. I actually enjoy Danielle Kelly as much as you can enjoy a submission grappling player.
It's like watching Cirque du Bolshoi, So So Daniel Kelly, I hope that she puts in an exciting performance and maybe changes Gatesman's mind about the grappling game. And then good old Dark Mikey can come in and save the division. You're going down Saturday though, Hank. Oh yeah? Well, I don't think I'm ever going down against a guy who picks Tony Ferguson when he's 40 years old. So good luck, Sean. Best of luck to you, buddy. Then we got the Monkey King, Jared Brooks, trying to redeem himself after that Bilal-level head slam against Gustavo Ballart, interim flyweight championship. Will he get it back, Skatesman?
So Gustavo Ballart, I think, is like a Muay Thai fight. I think he's had some Muay Thai fights. I don't even fucking know, dude. I have no idea. I don't care. Look. ONE FC's MMA sucks. It's terrible. It's going away. It's being phased out. They've probably had not even 30 MMA fights in total this year. So fuck ONE. Fuck MMA in the ring. They should just switch to being a Muay Thai kickboxing company and just say fuck it, scrap all MMA. Let those guys go fight somewhere else.
Harsh words from the Idaho Skatesman, but I dig it. So hey, Andrew Based. Good to see the man, the Chad, Andrew B, entering the chat. He's always a lively presence within the Skate Tank MMA podcast and all over the YouTube MMA world. So God bless you, Andrew B. Thank you for being here, Breber. We move on. I'm assuming you do not want, both are done. Value is the Tony side. I guess there's value there, but I'm going to explain why Michael Chiesa wins that fight in just a short time period. Then we got the LFA card. Do you want us to go through that, or do you just want to hear my lock for that one?
Hear your locks.
All right. This one's sort of a funny one. We got Alex Morrow versus Matt Adams. And look at that profile picture for good old Matt Adams.
That looks like a computer programmer.
Yeah, it honestly looks like a mugshot, like against the wall. Like that is not a fun setting. There's nobody else near him. He's not in the ring. He doesn't look cool. And his nickname is Bad. And I think that's all you need to know for why I'm picking Alex Morrow Skatesman. He has an absolutely atrocious record. Been doing nothing but getting knocked out by fools. Alex Morrow does nothing but knock people out. This should be a cinch. A cinch, you minch. In my opinion, I think he's going to wipe the floor with them and make them sleep with the fishes. Chiesa either quits or loses by decision.
Learn how to spell Chiesa.
Yeah, he is a soy boy. I'll give you that. A predator mugshot. Exactly, Sean. Exactly. But why would anyone want me to pick a predator here? I'd rather pick Kendrick Lamar in this instance. So give me Alex Morrow. That'll be fun. LFA is just pretty rotten. Do you want to go through Crawford versus Madrimov all the way through? I'm assuming you do.
I feel like we should save that. We should do that now. Well, I don't know. I feel like we should do the UFC first. That's going to be the bulk of the show. But it's up to you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I can go for boxing afterwards.
Okay. No. I'm sorry. We'll do boxing and we'll just rifle through it real quick. Because, like I said, the bulk of the show will be the UFC portion.
All right, sounds good. Let me share my screen real quick. I was beyond caught up. Thank you, Andrew B.
We probably should have went through which way we should do the order before the show. So my apologies, guys.
No problem. There's a lot of combat sports going on this weekend.
Yeah, that is true. And there's no matter what you're a fan of, there'll be something for you. So really, there's the Morrell fight I'd like to get. Oh, no. Jared Anderson versus Martin Bacol. So I have never seen Martin Bacol. I think I may have seen him fight. Don't know a lot about him, but I know that he's a little bit more proven against better opposition than Jared Anderson. The thing about Jared Anderson is that he has been getting more finishes against cans, and he's the guy that Top Rank has pushed really hard. I've said this for years. Top Rank is the best place to hide in boxing, right?
Yeah.
Get built up and just hide out and get names on your record.
20-0 record.
Yeah, Matchroom, Queensberry, PBC. These promotions are gonna match you up a little bit better. So that's the thing. That's a sketchy thing about Jared Anderson. Some of my big boxing heads, Cool Breeze, Jay Sharpweed, Gonzalez, all are telling me that Martin Bacol is gonna get this one done. So if you guys are looking to bet, throw a little bit of money on Martin Bacol. Don't know how he would get it done. But the thing is, Jared Anderson, he's the youngest heavyweight in the top 10 of pretty much every major sanctioning body's rankings. I think he's only 26, maybe 20. I think he's about 25-ish. So there's nowhere to go but up. I'm still a little suspect on picking Martin Bacol outright, but
good underdog.
100%.
We're doing fantastic, Andrew B. We're having a fantastic day. Thank you for asking, my man. Tom's boxing will be halfway decent for the main, hopefully, if people show up. Who's the Tom we're talking about? Are we talking about Tony here? Okay, so he's still.
I see what he's saying.
Yeah, he's obsessed with Tony.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about that later, Sean. So anyway.
So after that, do you think it's going to be a fun fight, regardless of the result?
Yes, 100%. I love heavyweight boxing. The rich history of heavyweight boxing in particular continues. So you got to love it, man.
Yeah, and it's the only division in combat sports where fat heavyweights can win titles. So
yep. So Andy Cruz is a good prospect, and so is Antonio Moran. Don't know a lot about either guy, but probably Andy Cruz is the favorite, and for a reason.
Nice.
And is that for a yes, that is for a plastic
lightweight title.
Yes, that is for a plastic belt. David Morrell is going up against, I can't read that, but
Radivoje Kaladzik.
David Morrell is going to kill this man. He may actually die in the ring.
Nice.
David Morrell has put many people in medically induced comas after his fights. Again, not something to praise, but the problem is that David Morrell cannot find anybody at his level to fight. So he is just annihilating people. I expect him to do the same here.
Sean means tomorrow's boxing. That's what he was trying to say. Yeah, that should be fun. I hope that there isn't a death in the ring, but I know that there is a rich history of that. So even in the 2020s. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Maybe the Skatesman mojo.
Can you click the plus page and get the bout page up? Yeah. So there's no odds on that, but that's okay. Oh. Yeah, let's check out. Let me see the odds here. Andy Ruiz is going to take on Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller was once upon a time looking like one of the dudes to take the title. And then he popped for steroids. And not just steroids, like a concoction of steroids, like every fucking steroid you could possibly take. And that's shown because his physique he looks like a fat piece of shit, like Riddick Bowe did in his later stage of his career. So what are the odds? Oh, actually, Andy
Ruiz.
I think if you know anything about Andy Ruiz, you know that he is a one-time conqueror of Anthony Joshua. Lost the rematch. Really, Andy Ruiz shined brightest on one night against Anthony Joshua.
AJ.
Became the only ever Mexican heavyweight boxing champion. Showed incredible hand speed. He's a solid boxer. The problem is that he's been rather inactive since his loss to Anthony Joshua. That was the peak of his career. And his last win is against Luis King Kong Ortiz, who was a damn good boxer at one point, but definitely washed at this point.
Not anymore, as Bill Mays would say.
The thing about this fight that is incredibly interesting to me is Andy Ruiz is favored for a reason, right? He's won a title, an actual title, not a plastic belt. Jarrell Miller had this incredible fight with Daniel Dubois on the Boxing Day of Reckoning, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what an amazing fight that was.
Yeah.
The problem is Jarrell Miller, though he was always kind of a bigger guy, he was always able to just outlast his opponents. He never really was like cold KOing people. And his stamina was what just brought him to the highest ranks of boxing until he obviously popped. Questions about if he should even be allowed back in boxing, right? He fell for that many steroids.
Well, speaking of which, Kiwi Brew is mentioning women's Olympics boxing. And that controversy that occurred just a few days ago with
sure, I do. There's definitely mixed reports about it, so I don't really want to speak on it. But so anyway, if Jarrell Miller, I watched him take a hellacious beating and have an insane fight with one Mr. Daniel Dubois, who is next in heavyweight boxing. That makes me believe he is a fantastic underdog to pick. Would you read the odds? I believe it's like plus 250.
Minus 350 on Andy Ruiz and plus 270. Moderate underdog for Jarrell.
So go Bacol, go Jarrell Miller, Andy Ruiz.
That is money.
How old is he?
I believe he's 34 years old. His Tapology list.
Still rather young for a heavyweight. There's a chance, and there's a good reason why he's favored.
Miller's a few years older than him.
But I have my doubts about Andy Ruiz, man. Either way, I love this fight. And I literally cannot wait to watch this fight. This is one of my more anticipated fights on the card.
It's definitely going to be a back and forth affair. I hope we get some slugging. Next, we move on to my lock that I have for the evening. Let's go to my pick that I have for this one.
Okay, all right.
1 second, bear with me. We got Isaac Cruz versus Jose Valenzuela. And I picked Isaac Cruz for this one by round 3 KO, just because Valenzuela, I feel, has had more of an amateurish record than Isaac Cruz. I love Isaac Cruz's whole game, how he puts it all together. He's just a fucking junkyard dog. Swings forward, punches in bunches, unloading pressure. Very underrated timing on his shots, and it's very hard to put Isaac Cruz down. He's a fucking animal in there, and it's fun to just see him fight. Whereas Valenzuela, I haven't really seen any highlights from him in his lower tier career, and I feel like this is just a layup fight for Isaac Cruz to demolish. What do you think?
First, I want to say what's up, AJ. Good to see you, my good friend. Cool Breeze. I told you, man. He says watch some Bacol highlights. He's gonna hummel Anderson with the jab. I'd really like to get your thoughts on Miller and Ruiz, Cool Breeze. So let us know in the comments. Would you pull up Jose Valenzuela's last couple fights for me, please?
Sure thing. Let's take a look at El Rayo's record. 13-2.
Rayo, that's right. Let me see. Who is
Lost
okay?
To Crystal Bear. Lost to Edwin De Los Santos as well. He's only coming off one win going into this title fight. But he's had a few good names as well.
Chris Colbert was at one point a guy poised as a good prospect. That loss was BS. I did watch that fight. And then he ended up, you can see, because he ended up finishing Chris Colbert in the last fight. So Rayo is not a guy to count out. Pull up Isaac Cruz's record for me, please.
Sure.
This is actually Isaac Cruz's toughest test at the world title level. Obviously, he fought Tank Davis, so maybe not, because he did lose. Let me show you something here. Since fighting Tank, he knocked out Yuriokis Gamboa. Do you know who Yuriokis Gamboa is?
Is he a total can?
At one point, he was a champ, and he was looking good. But he turned into like a Amir Khan or like a Pedraza, right? Like he just turned into the guy that you knocked the fuck out, and he's an old man at this point. Isaac Cruz knocked him out viciously. I knew that was going to happen as soon as I saw the bout announced. Then he got a win over Ramirez, Cabrera, and then he just beat the absolute dog shit out of Rolly Romero. Once when he was punching Rolly was running around the ring. It was terrible. Rolly should have never been in there with Isaac Cruz. The problem is Isaac Cruz's actual boxing talent, right, is in question. To me, personally. Oh. I think Rayo could win this fight boxing. I'm going to definitely pick Isaac Cruz to defend his title and get another title defense. Look, Shakur Stevenson outboxed Isaac Cruz with one hand. He broke his hand, and again, it's Tank, right? So, but yeah, I'm definitely interested in this fight.
I know about Tanks, but continue. You're excited for it? How do you see the fight playing out overall?
I think Isaac Cruz. I haven't really seen enough of either guy. It's just going to be a scrappy affair. It'll be a good one.
All right, sounds good. Well, I'm hoping.
Okay, we got Cool Breeze's pick.
Let's take a
Ruiz outclasses Fat Baby Miller without steroids, fast hands combinations, but no knockout. Fat Boy will lay on him. Try to tire him out. I take Ruiz by decision. I love it.
All right, then we got
Juice Man. Sorry, Juice Man. What's up? Boxings. He's not into the boxing. I think I must have missed MMA. I'll catch y'all later. Hard flip. Nose blood, tray flip out, nose manual. Well, you can't tray flip out of a nose blood, but no. You're just in time. We're just about done with the boxing, and we're gonna get to the MMA analysis directly after. So,
but first we got to go over a very hyped up main event that had a great video package. By the way, I had it shared on the Discord. I took a look at it. It was a very cinematic promo for both men that showed their origins, how they were pushed into the sport, and where they've gone from there, and how they've gotten on a collision course towards this fight. I really like Israel Madrimov just from his last performance, but what do you think of the contest? I still obviously favor Bud, but what do you think of the fight overall?
This is Terrence Crawford versus a guy, in my opinion. Look, we all know about big upsets, right? The Cinderella Man, right? Go back all the way back to the Cinderella Man. When Max Baer lost to, God, what the fuck is his name? James, I fucking can't remember what his name. The Cinderella Man. Anyway, you got the Buster Douglas defeating Mike Tyson. We've seen these incredible odds where a guy can win. So I'm not going to count Israel Madrimov out. People are saying he's like Triple G type guy. Really, the question of this fight is how washed was Errol Spence when Bud Crawford dismantled him? Okay. Errol Spence Jr. Had a vicious car accident where he crashed his car going insanely fast. There was questions about if he could even fight after that, in which he did, and he won fights and had title defenses after that. Crawford and Spence were on a collision course for a long time. Crawford slayed the dragon, getting the best win of his career. But like I said, if Spence was completely washed in that fight, this is a tough fight for him. If Crawford is that dude, which he looked to be that night against Spence, he looked like him. I don't know if I am in relaying like he is him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, even at Eminem doing the intro song for him.
Yeah. Like, what's this all Eminem walking out with it? Just his aura. Like you could see. Have you ever seen The Last Dragon?
Oh God, what was that?
Well, you're super white, so I wouldn't expect you to really see The Last Dragon. It's with Bruce Leroy. Okay, that's where Alex Caceres gets his nickname. It's kind of a hood movie. It's like a hood classic, right? Well, in this movie, right, Bruce Leroy is on a quest for the glow. Okay, and he had to fight Sho'nuff. Okay, so once he got to the fight with Sho'nuff, he had the glow. Terrence Crawford had the fucking glow that night against Errol Spence. You could see the motherfucker's aura. I mean, he literally knocked down Errol, and then he turns to Charlo in the ring, does one of these deals, right? And he says, "You're next. You're next." You're like, dude, he's got the glow. And Juice Man, tired of the yes, Cool Breeze knows what I'm talking about. Crawford is the A side. He wins. It's boxing, bro. I understand.
Also mentioned that Sean wants to share his picks, but I'll do that afterwards and send them to you, Skatesman. He wants to know what you think about the picks after the show.
I'll give you all my thoughts in this show, so just stick around. This is, and as Juice Man said, I don't want to belabor the point. This is Crawford's night. This is a card built around the A side, Terrence Crawford. And it's his first contest up at 154, which he unified 140 and 147. First ever to unify two weight classes in the modern era. And he's chasing that at 154, which is actually a really weak division now. Okay, I don't know if you knew this. 154 has just been dismantled. So it's a tough one. Like I said, my pick's officially going to be Crawford. I'm going to pick him to get it done in 6 rounds, under 6.5 rounds. What about you?
Do you see Terrence Crawford retiring on top, or do you think there is actually an opponent that can take it down?
That's the other contentious point of this fight is that Terrence Crawford boxes once a year, if that. He's been rather inactive. No, he's chasing Canelo. He's chasing greatness. He better fight again because Crawford. I mean, look. Here's the thing about Crawford. His record is terrible. Okay, his opponents are terrible. He's never really fought that big name guy. He's never really had a win over a fresh guy. And when he did, he got knocked down and he got hurt in some of those instances. So you may see a moment like this, but again, this is his maximum earning potential right now. I don't see him walking away, especially after fighting Israel Madrimov. Are you fucking kidding me? Mm-hmm. He better not.
Yeah. Still a solid performance from Madrimov. I do like how he fights in the ring if you watched the Day of Reckoning. But yeah, Bud is going to be too much for him, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a late rounds knockout because he's just sort of a tough Middle Easterner. So I think it's going to go to 9th round, 10th round.
Middle Easterner?
Well, isn't he... He's in his Uzbekistan.
That's not the Middle East, my friend.
It's Eurasia, right? Okay, Eurasia. Yeah, he's tough. He's within that region, so it's hard to put those guys out sometimes. He had a good chin on him in his last fight too, and he was good at dodging the punches, but might come down to just the weakness of his opponent, not his own skill level. So that might be the deciding factor for this one. I feel like Bud continues his reign. I would love to see Bud versus Canelo in the future, but saw an article reading that it comes down to the specific promoter that's going to book the show for that one. So we'll see if that happens, but I hope that Bud's reign continues and he keeps his spot on the pound for pound list. But overall, I'm going to enjoy that boxing card, I think, regardless of what happens, just because I love the name value for that card. And boxing is getting really good at that recently, putting in together big shows with big names. So that's
no, only one specific promoter is, and that's Turkey Al-Sheikh because of the blood oil money. That's who's putting on this card, and that's why I won't go to this card or pay for it, because I do not want to support their regime. That's not my opinion, not yours. Buy the card. I'm sure it'll be great. But the thing is boxing is retarded because why can't two headliners be in the same show? It makes no sense. They're missing out on opportunity, sort of like Idaho not legalizing marijuana. Legalize that marijuana, get that tax money, guys. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. Anyway, Juiceman says, as much as I despise boxing, I gotta respect you guys for covering all combat sports, though. For real, big respect. That's how your channel grows. Wish you guys many more subs. Thank you, Mr. Juiceman. And we appreciate your support, man. You're always in our shows. Shout out to you. They're trying to set up Canelo versus Bud. I've said that's never gonna happen, but
it's hard to book Canelo.
Looks like it's on the horizon. Don't hold your breath. You'll have a full set of gray hair on your head.
Obama after 8 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on from boxing and moving on from the regional scene, we got the main event of the evening, UFC Fight Night, Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov in the UAE, the horrible blood money corporation. Speaking of blood money and oil, we got this banger of a card. Honestly, it's stacked from top to bottom. I wonder why. I wonder who's pulling on Dana's arm a little bit for this one.
Can you pull up the actual bout page instead of just your picks, because I can't share mine on the stream.
All right, good. Give me 1 second.
Sorry about that, guys.
All right. Now we got the main card.
And though Saudi Arabia is not UAE, I don't know if you knew this, but
no.
Mohammed bin Salma, who was the crown prince of the UAE, and Mohammed bin Zayed are cousins.
Well, isn't that quite the coincidence? As the
King Zayed and King Salma are brothers. Saudi Arabia is King Saud's regime, and the Emirates are like the princely states. So a little bit of geopolitics for you.
All right, now we got the card. Let me go down to the first fight. We got Cedric Dumas versus Denis Tolulian. Give the people your thoughts while I go get a glass of water real quick.
Got it. So Sequidrius, or I don't even know how the fuck to say his name. Sequidrius, Dumas, dumbass, whatever you want to call him, versus Denis Tolulian. So obviously we all know that Dumas is a convicted criminal. There's questions on whether or not he should even be fighting. For some reason he is, versus Denis Tolulian. Denis Tolulian's a scrappy dude. never shot for a takedown, so we kind of know what he's all about. Lost to CLD, lost to Gregory Rodriguez, and Junyoung Park. Not the worst guys to lose to in the UFC. Yeah. On the flip side, you got in Sakridrius's last 5 fights, he lost to Josh Fremd, who we now know is terrible, by submission of all things. And his last loss was to Nursultan Ruzabayev. Not a bad loss. This fight is taking place at middleweight, which is a terrible, terrible division. I hate middleweight. But he does have wins over guys like Abu Zaitar, Cody Brundage. And, I would say Dumas has more skills. Tallulah could win this one in a scrap. I don't know, dude. I'm going to pick Dumas begrudgingly. But I'll pick him to get it done by decision. It depends on how much of a can Tallulah really is, because he's gone to decision with cans before. If he can knock out Mr. Tallulah, that'll be good. But what say you?
I also have Cedric Dumas by decision, same as you. Look, God knows I've had my problems with Cedric the Dumbass. His fights aren't fun. He looks sloppy, had negative fight IQ sometimes. He has won fights by inches instead of miles, and he has, for the most part, lived up to the nickname I've assigned him. However, if there's one good thing I can say about Cedric in his fight with Denis Tallulah, it's that he's going to take Denis down and keep him there because he has underrated grappling ability, in my opinion. Dumas was also somewhat neutralizing the striking of Nursultan Ruzabayev on the feet and hitting him with a few shots of his own before that eye poke that put him out because Gary Copeland was fucking involved. And if he's technical enough to do that, I guarantee he will eliminate Tallulah in striking game by keeping his distance and hitting him with clean, long-range strikes. From my viewpoint, he has every advantage you could want in this fight, and if he takes Tallulah down once and keeps feigning it, this fight's pretty much over. Plus, is Cedric really that much of a dumbass that he'll allow plotty Denis Tallulah to keep him up against the fence for a round of dirty boxing? I highly doubt it with his physical strengths and ability. I think this should be light work, although I know the dumbass will still find a way to make it close. The non-Whitaker Reaper takes another soul and banishes Dennis the Menace from the UFC.
And by the way, fuck Dumas. He's a convicted domestic violence criminal, so screw him.
Yeah, fuck him. Same thing as Tank. Fuck them both. But then we got Jai Herbert versus Rolando Bedoya. Who you got for this one, Skatesman?
The contentious point of this one is Jai Herbert, though he has very excellent technique, head kicking Ilia Topuria and hurting him before getting viciously knocked out by him. He has crispy, clean kickboxing technique, and the problem is he doesn't throw enough. I think he averages like 2 strikes a minute. That is not a lot. On the flip side, you got Ronaldo Bedoya, who I think is averaging like 8. So not the cleanest guy, but man, does he put on a pace and a volume. I think if Bedoya can get Herbert, if he can be in the middle of the cage and get Herbert up against what they call a warning track, which is the outer side of the emblem on the mat, and keep him there outside of kicking range and outside of the end of Herbert's punches, I believe he can get this one done. He's actually going to be my pick. I'm going to pick him by decision.
All right, nice. I think I've also got Jai Herbert by decision, same as you.
Oh, right? I have Bedoya by decision.
Oh, you have Bedoya by decision. Oh, well, I got Herbert by decision. Okay, that's our first disagreement for the card.
I got him based purely off of volume.
All right, nice. Well, the only fear I have, specifically me, concerning this fight is whether Rolando Bedoya will use his experience working with Diego Lima's shoot-to-box team to take Jai Herbert down. Other than that unknowable possibility, I feel like Jai Herbert still, despite the strike rate, finds a way to outstrike Bedoya fairly easily, in my opinion, over 3 rounds, given his track record. He outdid Kyle Nelson and went to a draw with Ludovic Klein, which would have been a win if not for a foul, apparently. Both very impressive feats in hindsight. His loss to Fares Zayam was also debatable, according to some MMA fans, and he even came the closest out of anyone to knocking out Ilia Topuria, telling me that Herbert is quite underrated going into this contest. The Black Country Banger has competitive fights, as his name suggests, And if he maintains his distance from Bedoya, as he's done with past opponents, and is far enough out of range to avoid the takedowns, I think this is going to be a dominant performance on the feet from him against someone who's been dropped by Song Kanan. I mean, come on. At this point, you shouldn't be getting pieced up by that untechnical of a featherweight fighter. Herbert's going to thwart Bedoya's offense and eventually make the machine break down, scoring a unanimous 29-28 decision win at worst, in my opinion. I just feel like that Song Kanan loss is not good for Orlando Bedoya. So for that reason, I'm going with Herbert. Juiceman has Bedoya by decision as well. So maybe I'm a little crazy for this one, but I'm still going with my pick. Then we got Victoria Dudikova versus Sam Hughes. Oh, brother. What do you think about
Victoria Dudikova is what people are now referring to as like ass bleeder because of her staph infection that she grossly put on display in her win against Jinyu Fry. Now there's questions about that. Did the staph really affect her that much? And that's why she looks so bad against Jinyu Fry, who got cut after that one and is an atom weight. On the other side, you got Sam Hughes, who loses to strong grapplers. Outside of, I believe Elise Reed is kind of a grappler. I don't know. I always mix her up with JJ Aldridge and Aspen Ladd, so I don't know. But Sam Hughes losing her last fight to Yasmin Jauregui was really impressive in a loss. She really hung in there with Yasmin and pieced her up in some points. I think even hurt her. We don't know how good Dudikova is at this point.
Right. She's
supposed to be this Russian wrestling machine. But I don't know, dude. It's so weird. She is the significantly younger girl, 25. Sam Hughes, 32. I don't think Sam Hughes is crazy to pick in this matchup, but I do have Dudikova by decision tentatively. Might even go to Splitty City as her her last one was a unanimous decision. So yeah, I'm going Dudikova, Splitty City.
Well, that's a city I never want to visit in my life.
It's a rough town.
It's a fucking women's fight, so I guess that's the way it goes. I got Victoria Dudikova by decision as well. Victoria Dudikova is younger, equal in height, and has a better reach than Sam Hughes, who has lost to women she shouldn't have, like Yasmin Jauregui or Piera Rodriguez.
Wait. Are you saying she shouldn't have lost to Yasmin Jauregui?
I mean, she's got a mixed record. She wins a good fight. She loses a bad fight.
She was a huge underdog in that fight. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, but that's why she shouldn't have lost to her, is because she's an underdog. Okay, whatever.
No, Sam Hughes was a huge underdog.
Wait, Sam was the huge underdog. Okay, whatever. All right. Anyway, that point didn't stick. And only has some good takedowns in her arsenal, does Sam Hughes. As long as the Russian Dudikova has some takedown defense, highly likely, and brings out that dude energy against Hughes, despite the bloody butt, and she brings out that Algerian, if you will, she will win a dominant decision. Her striking's better and her grappling's too much as well against someone with a practically even record and iffy displays of both. Hughes might just have a Sam page after her loss, is my prediction.
And Kiwi makes an excellent point. Hughes could just outwork her here, 100%. But we don't know if the Dudikova from last fight will show up. I believe if that is the one we get, Sam Hughes wins this one. But I'm going to go ahead and give her the benefit of the doubt and say she can get this done.
All right. Only one disagreement so far. Then we got Guram Kudateladze versus Jordan Vucenic. What a fight this is. A strange one, really. What do you think?
I don't know anything about Jordan Vucenic. I know that he is the Cage Warriors featherweight, or was the featherweight title holder. A guy that he beat, maybe you can refresh me on his name, was actually signed to the UFC faster than he was, which is really a strange decision.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was
considering
Morgan Sherrier.
Yeah, considering he already beat him decisively, I think a few times. Now Vucenic is coming up. He had a fight. His last fight was at lightweight, and he was just kind of against a guy. He finished him, losing to Paul Hughes, who is actually with the PFL now. So the thing about Vucenic is he should have been probably in the UFC a long time ago. But he is going up against Guram, who, I mean, winning that amazing fight against Gamrot. And then he's just kind of fallen flat in his last few fights. Trains with Hamzat, getting knocked out by Elvis Brenner on short notice. That was Elvis Brenner's like show out fight. Hey, what is up? Hey, Goral. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, Vucenic, are you wearing?
Yes, sir. Pristine, baby.
So the thing about Vucenic coming up from lightweight, we're not exactly sure how he'll look on short notice up at lightweight. Guram, man, I don't know where he's at. I don't know how hard he trains and how seriously he really takes the sport. This is him in Abu Dhabi, Muslim, Russian, slightly territory. I'm going to pick Guram to get this one done. But the thing is you cannot count out Vucenic in this fight. This is the big show. This is his time to shine. Getting the spotlight in this matchup. But really, I mean, tell you the truth, the real reason why I'm fading Vucenic, outside of Guram, who is skilled and on a 2-fight losing streak, is that even the MMA guru, who has watched every single one of Vucenic's fights, is counting him out in this one. So
yikes, that's not good.
Let's go, Guram.
Biggest fan is fading you. That's not a good thing.
I have all decisions up to this point. I may mess with it a little later, but I'm going to pick him tentatively by decision here.
And that's another thing that I sort of need to complain about this card. Everybody's like, oh man, this is stacked. This is the card I'm looking forward to the most for like these last couple months. Dude, if you actually look at if you break down how these fights are going to go, like not even half of them, I think, are going to go to finishes with the guys fighting. So honestly, I really see this being more of a slog than a lot of people say they are, despite the name caliber that's being involved in, because obviously the UAE, they pulled Dana's arm until it broke. But with the level of quality for the fighters and the name value, they go to technical wars and they don't get finishes. So, but anyway, I'm going to completely undermine what I just said, and I'm going to have Guram Kudus by round 2 KO in this fight. One of the few finishes I see on the card. Jordan Vucenic is nicknamed the Epidemic, and maybe that's because he's just another victim to the UFC's epidemic of bringing in Cage Warriors champions way too late and screwing them over with nightmare short notice matchups. Just ask George Hardwick. Vucenic is the fighter I'm rooting for the most on this card, that he can escape Cage Warriors limbo and force the UFC to give him a 3-fight contract, ending the Cage Warriors curse. However, I just don't think that's going to be the case because he's fighting Guram on a week's notice up a weight class. The Georgian Viking is not one of those Cage Warriors cans for Vucenic to dispatch. He has solid wrestling, and I don't think he'll get taken down for very long or subbed by Jordan. On the feet, he's clearly better, more powerful than Vucenic. And if he stuffs the takedowns, it's not going to be a good night for his debut opponent. I just see Vucenic being outclassed on the feet, and eventually by round 2, he just gets his chin cracked and gets sat down for the TKO win. Very sad sight for such a great regional prospect, but that's UFC's relationship with Cage Warriors in a nutshell.
I'm in a nutshell. Oh, help me. I'm in a nutshell.
Oh, no. He's in a Peanuts commercial. Help Mr. Peanut.
Kiwi says Guram win over Gamrot was debatable. It could be 0-3. Either way, he fought his ass off in that fight, and that was his breakout performance.
Yeah.
So,
Skatesman said so. Anyway, we move on to Shamil Gassiev versus Dontel Mays. Wow.
So, Shamil Gassiev looked terrible against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, which was his last loss. But he looked all right for the first part when he had some gas in the tank. Problem is, fat heavyweight's going to fat heavyweight. Could be a heavyweight over. I think you could see a finish. Honestly, as much as I don't like Shamil, I think he gets this one done. I'm going to pick him to get a round 2 KO. But I don't know, dude. I have no idea how this fight's going to go. Heavyweight over. If you can get a good odds on that one, maybe hammer the line. Juice Man has a boring decision. I hope not, because I'm picking him round 2 knockout, and I picked all decisions up to this point, so I'm hoping there's a knockout. But as Kiwi says, big step down in competition. But I'm not counting out Dontel Mays exactly. He has surprised me somewhat in his last few performances. I think it's just kind of hard to pick against Shamil Gassiev, and you'll kind of see me wrestle with that same thing up the card a little more. So, give me Shamil. I hope it's not a boring decision, but it very well could be.
Well, if there's one thing we've learned, Skatesman, is that the fights that we pick to go to a decision usually end up being finishes, and the fights that we want to be finishes go to decisions. So that's the fucking big game for you. I really don't know how to fucking predict this shit. It's very untrustworthy. But I do also have Shamil Gaziev by round 2 KO exactly. We are fucking connected at the womb. Or at the what were we connected at? The hip. We're connected at the hip is what I'm saying.
We form together like Voltron.
Yes, exactly. Like the Power Rangers. Don't tell Mays that he's losing. But yeah, he's in serious trouble here. Shamil Gaziev looked exhausted and just got awful in his 5-round fight with Jairzinho Rozenstruik. But people forget, man. He was knocking out fat heavyweights of a lower caliber like Martin Boudet. I'm not your buddy, friend. And Greg Velasco. And in my opinion, Don'Tell Mays doesn't fall out of that category by much. He's slow, he has okay technique, and finds himself being chinned by lower tier guys like Cal Machado. Mays has only been able to knock out washed heavyweights like Andrei Arlovsky and Josh Parisian. And Gaziev may be out of shape, but he's not washed in my opinion. He still has power in his fists and is fast enough, I think, to catch Don'Tell coming in and put him out. So give me Gaziev by 2nd round knockout. We'll just have to keep pretending that he has any chance in the heavyweight top 15. Fuck. Let's move on to Mohamed Yahya versus Kawi Fernandez.
Well, these guys are terrible. One's a hometown guy, Mohamed, obviously. I don't know how to pick this fight, dude. So what I'm going to do is I have a can here. That I have just ripped this off of, okay? So I'm going to flip. This side will be Yahya. The other side will be Fernandez. I'm literally just going to flip this thing. Oh, it went behind me. Give me 1 second.
Oh, God.
Shit. That means I shouldn't pick.
Oh, God. I lost it.
Where did it go? This is a can fight, so it's fitting. I think I lost that fucking thing. Oh, here it is. Oh. All right. We got this side. I'm going Fernandez. Let's go.
Right. Here we go. What we got? Oh. Wait, what? Wait, who'd you pick?
Fernandez. They're both cans. Fuck them. I got this side, so I got to pick him.
Hard pick. Well, the can went in your favor on this one because I've also got Kawi Fernandez by decision. Look, Lois, it's Mohammed. Despite his name, Yahya, despite his name, Yahya isn't exactly the United Arab Emirates. He's not exactly what the United Arab Emirates have been looking for. Despite being nicknamed the UAE Warrior, he has pitter-patter striking, takes too much time to gain momentum in his fights, and overall is unimpressive in his striking in regard to technical ability or power. He let Trevor Peake, a fighter with very little technique, get the best of him through sheer pressure and output. And I feel like someone who's more technical but still has speed and power on the feet, like Kawi Fernandez. By the way, I literally I spelled it out like how you're supposed to pronounce it. It's literally Cow-A. So, hey, he's a Cow-A. Fernandez will be able to outclass him, sending Yahya's head up and down with kicks and punches like a yo-yo for Yahya to score a dominant decision from Fernandez. Maybe even a finish, and perhaps with a little switch of the lettering in his name, become the UAE's true warrior. He's not Cow-A, he's Kue. If you hear what I'm saying. Peake is that dog. He's got that dog in him. And I'm not just talking about Israel Adesanya here. I'm talking about the Peake. He's Peake, dude, and it's a long way down from there. Next on the card, we got Atomic Alonzo Menefield versus Azamat Mirzakhanov tonight.
So this is our first light heavyweight contest on the card. Light heavyweight sucks. We all know how I feel about light heavyweight and middleweight. Fuck those divisions. You got Zoe Menefield, 15-4. You got the professional Azamat Mirzakhanov, 13-0 so far. He's 35. He trains in New Jersey. Zoe is 36. He trains in Texas.
Breakfast.
Both guys got good knockout power. I don't see this fight going to decision. I think that Azamat though he is the smaller guy, significantly. It says he's 5'10", says that Alonso's 6 foot tall. I think he's a little shorter than that. Probably should be a middleweight. The thing is I actually really like Azamat Murzakanov. Alonzo Menafield, coming off of a knockout 2 months ago to Carlos Ulberg, really sways me in Murzakanov's favor. I'm going to go round 1 knockout for Murzakhanov. I'm going to go round 2 just to go safe. What say you?
Nice. I also have Azamat Murzakanov by round 3 KO, the Skatesman way. Listen here. In Alonzo Menafield's last fight, he swung at the air against Ulberg early and immediately paid dearly for it, with the only thing being atomic bombed in that fight being his chin after the Aussie sent him to the Shadow Realm in an embarrassing 12-second fight. One of the most ridiculous instances of negative fight IQ I've seen in the octagon. Unlike Alonzo, Azamat's a professional, as his nickname suggests, and takes his time before getting the knockout in his fights, having several third-round finishes as of late, just as Skatesman likes him. Even though he's a big Russian light heavyweight, Azamat's fast and will have really solid timing and footwork in this fight against a guy who's looked clumsy on the feet in nearly every one of his recent fights, even having a stand-up war with Jimmy Crute at one point, which is a terrible look. On top of
Jacoby.
Yeah, Gobi. On top of this, Alonzo's is coming off a knockout loss that happened only 2 months ago, so it's not like his chin is fully recovered or he's been training or sparring that long going into this fight in the desert against a Dagestani striker, which are both troubling signs for him when his only option is to win in a firefight. I doubt he shoots any takedowns in this one. He's a dumbass. Murzakhanov will be too fast and eventually catch him with something huge on the feet for the third round KO, nuking Alonzo Menafield's chin for good. Oh, then
again, Juice Man has Alonzo by first round TKO. I think that's a fine pick. I don't think there's anything wrong with picking Alonzo.
They're light heavyweights. It's a good.
He's the bigger guy, so significant size and probably is going to weigh significantly more in the cage. Juice Man asks, why don't you like middle and light heavyweight? Enlighten me. I find middle interesting.
Professor.
Most of the talent in the UFC is in 3 weight classes, that being 135, 145, and 155. 155 is the deepest division. Featherweight, not so much as bantamweight, but I would say featherweight is just as high a level. Middleweight, light heavyweight are very top heavy. The guys at the top 5, top 10, generally just miles and miles ahead of the guys lower in the divisional rankings. 155, it's always a crapshoot when you got like number 15 versus number 30. You don't know who could fuck any one of those guys could really win those fights. And those guys are just terrible. Past the top 10, I mean, it's literally just shitty fighters in middleweight and light heavyweight. I will give you middleweight is becoming more interesting, but we've seen plenty of middleweight headliners this year. They've all been pretty much terrible outside of just a few. But yeah, those divisions suck ass, man. I don't know how else to put it to you.
Yikes.
Kiwi says less than 6 months off. I agree with you 100%.
There we go. Moving on to our next fight, we got Elvis Brenner versus Yoel Alvarez.
So Joel Alvarez was at one point looked like that dude at lightweight. But he just doesn't fight enough. Elvis Brenner, I would say, has the momentum coming into this contest, even though he is coming off of a loss, and Joel Alvarez is coming off of a Darce choke to Dicasey. I think this is a tough one to pick. I think going either way is, not a problem. The thing is I got Alvarez in this one by submission. I got him by round 2 submission. That's his favorite way to get it done. He's already fought a pretty high level lightweight, a guy who I considered to be really good and actually was climbing up the rankings in Thiago Moises at the time that he did beat him.
Underrated and overrated at the same time.
There's questions about where he is now, and I understand that. Elvis Brenner, I think, is the more scrappy guy. I just think that Alvarez has a little more tools in the bag. Expect him to be.
Andrew B asks, what's happening so far? Any good fights? I would argue that Alonzo Menefield versus Azamat is a great fight to look forward to. If Gaziev gets a KO, that's something to look forward to. And then Graham versus Jordan Vucenic, I'd argue, is sort of a dream fight.
Should be higher up the card.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are the 3 fights to look forward to, Andrew. But right now we got Yoel Alvarez versus Elvis Brenner. And Brenner's a dog, so he could make that a great fight as well. But,
right. Again, I just think expect the much taller 6'3" Joel Alvarez to be throwing a lot more variety of strikes. I think if you're going to go Brenner, you pick him by knockout. I think he doesn't win a decision here. But yeah, I got Alvarez by sub. I think this is a fantastic fight. And that's reflected, Elvis Brenner, a 145 dog. Plus 145. So I don't know. I mean, it's a good contest. I like it.
I'm going against your logic here, Skatesman, because I do have Elvis Brenner by decision. I rate Elvis Brenner's performance against Miktabek Orolbai more than others do, as a guy who picked Orolbai by decision. His scrambles were excellent against him, and even though he got cracked by the Genghis Khan caveman a few times, he was still able to rally, and by the 3rd round was on the way, I think, to a decision win before that last punch from Khan, which sat him at the end of the fight. If you've seen Orolbai's LFA career, he's an excellent striker who's gotten quite a few knockouts over the years. Alvarez has had only three knockouts, and one of those was on the independent scene. People are saying that if Joel cracks Elvis Brenner, it's game over, whether it's on the feet or the ground. But Brenner has escaped submissions and held his own in the wrestling, which tells me he'll reverse a lot of Alvarez's mat work and end up on top with some ground and pound on occasion. No Diddy, by the way. He may be at a disadvantage on the feet, but that hasn't stopped Brenner on the feet before. He's eaten the shots of Garam Kutataledze, who is on this card, and rallied back with a knockout of his own. If Joel hurts him, unlike Orolbai, I think Brenner hurts Joel back and even gets him down in the scrambles. So for that reason, I have to think he outpoints Alvarez with a combination of damage and control for at least 2 out of the 3 rounds. If Alvarez is on his back, he doesn't even attempt to get up, as we've seen in certain fights. So I think this should be a 29-28 decision win for Brenner, crushing El Fenomeno like Sarukian did.
Yeah, you bring up some good points. Joel Alvarez is kind of like Douglas Lima in his later career. Doesn't like to get up from scrambles. And the really the biggest thing is he's a 6'3" lightweight, so we don't know how that weight cut really affects him. Right. But I love it. I love the pick. Close fight, good fight.
Next, we got Mackenzie Dern versus Lupita Godinez.
So Mackenzie Dern is 13-5, losing 3 out of her last 5, 31. Obviously, I think if you know anything about Mackenzie Dern, you know how she got in the UFC. I believe she was like an ADCC multiple-time winner, grappling phenom. And somewhere along the way, she forgot how to speak English. So that's interesting. Lupita Godinez on the other side is 12-4. She's 30. She's won 4 out of her last 5. Just looking at this fight on the surface, Lupi's got better striking, better wrestling. The question is, Mackenzie Dern obviously is a much better submission artist. I don't know, man. It's tough because Mackenzie Dern really needs a bounce back bad. This is somebody that's a little smaller than her, so that might play into it a little bit. Lupi, if you remember anything about her, when she made her debut, I think she fought like a week later, and then she fought a month after that. It's an absolute gangster is Lupi Godinez. I'm rooting for her to win. I want her to beat Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern has not improved her takedowns or striking much since entering the UFC. There has been some improvements. She's able to, not just punch air the entire time. But if your coach is grilling you about not closing your eyes when you throw a punch every single time you fight, which, by the way, her coach is Saeed Saud, I think. No, she said she's with Black House MMA. I don't know who that. Maybe she switched coaches, which is actually not
smart.
A good sign. But Dern looks like she's on the sauce. I've heard a lot of people say Dern looks amazing on the scales.
Interesting.
Juiceman says, I hope Loopy wins by sub. The fake accent turn is going to need to show more ass after this loss. Stay relevant like she's been doing.
Open up the OnlyFans.
I got Loopy to Godinez by decision, but I think this is another one where you see the old Splitty City train come back into town.
No, please. Not Suplex City, bitch. I got Lupita Godinez by decision as well. Lupi Godinez was looking great during her highly active 4-fight win streak, spanning just 1 year until that Hills Have Eyes woman came along. And even then, she made that fight way more competitive than Amanda Lemos did recently, making that loss age like a fine wine in hindsight. Mackenzie Dern, meanwhile, has not looked good as of late, getting whooped by Jessica Andrade with a terrible training camp, and then having nothing on the feet against Amanda Lemos and largely failing in the grappling, only getting it in the third round. Now she's taking on a female phenom, the real El Phenomeno, or should I say phenomena, with great grappling and a warrior spirit, who's going to put ceaseless pressure on her from the start to the end of this fight, and more likely than not win the scrambles against her and end up on top, even if this does get to wrestling, which just seems like a nightmare matchup for someone who crumbles to both better strikers and better grapplers. Loopy is going to throw Dern for loops, as her name suggests, and just overpower her in the wrestling when she feels like it. She's way too much of a powerhouse and scrapper to let Dern dominate her on the ground. And the ground game isn't her kryptonite like it is for Lemos. Loopy, dominant 30-27 decision win. Her hype train's getting back on tracks, and Dern might just get sent packing from the UFC with another crushing loss. The OnlyFans is opening up.
I think PFL is going to get a good prospect after this fight.
Ugh,
So, unfortunately, we have to talk about Tony Ferguson fighting Michael Chiesa. I mean, what's there to say about Tony Ferguson? He was on a 12-fight win streak, one of the most legendary win streaks at lightweight before his demise, which he's on a 7-fight losing streak, guys.
This isn't the real Tony Ferguson. He was cloned in a lab.
This is sad, man. Honestly, I'm like legitimately sad to even break this fight down.
Me too.
Michael Chiesa is known as a quitter and a guy who gasses. One thing we know that Tony Ferguson is not. That's not Chiesa talking. No, it is not.
His hair is a different color, but you're close. I think he's irrelevant.
Though Chiesa is from Spokane, Washington, up by my area, which has been getting a terrible rep as of late. And I'm glad that Kiwi brought this up. Tony by sub plus 5,000. If you're a betting man, you have to bet on Tony Ferguson. I'm fucking telling you guys, please bet on Tony Ferguson.
7 fights. Bet Tony
I
Ferguson.
understand, but the line is just so ridiculous that you would have to put some money on Tony Ferguson, whether it be $5, $2, $1, $10, like I'm putting on Tony Ferguson. But anyway, I don't bet. What are you talking about?
20 is the favorite. That's
you got to bet. You have to. You just have to in this spot. I'm officially picking Michael Chiesa by submission in the first round. But if this was a kickboxing match, right? If Dana announced tomorrow we're actually going to do a Chatri style kickboxing match in the octagon with the big gloves, I'm picking Tony Ferguson to win that fight. The thing is he's completely fucking washed. I can't pick him. I can't pick him in good faith on Tapology. But as far as the betting goes, dude, I mean, Sniff says famous last words. The thing is the line is so incredibly ridiculous. If you bet $1 on Tony Ferguson to win, you win $100 by third round submission or more. You know, the underdog. I mean, the odds are just ridiculous. You got to put money on Tony Ferguson, guys. I'm telling you.
All right. What the heck, you guys? Tony Ferguson's the best MMA fighter there. What Dana White and how he's treated him.
And to be fair, I would love Tony to win this fight, but he's not gonna.
I think anybody who's a true MMA fan wants Tony Ferguson to win this fight and retire on top, which he's never going to, by the way. He's going to keep fighting until he's literally killed inside the octagon. And that's just the harsh truth of the world. I got Michael Chiesa by round 1 submission. El Kakui's washed. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. His wrestling that once made him an MMA legend is fully gone, and now guys like Bobby Green and Patty Pimblett are getting him down and victimizing him on the mat. If Bobby can do that, I know that Michael Chiesa can do the same, And I don't rate Chiesa's fighting ability at all. Neither does Idaho Skatesman. His stand-up is cowardly. As soon as he faces the slightest bit of resistance and pressure, he crumbles. And if Tony could throw more combinations together and put on the pressure like the Tony of old, he could win this fight. And then there's actually something interesting to bring up. Tony Ferguson has been in a few sparring sessions as of late. Apparently, the first time he's been in sparring in 7 years. He's not doing his unorthodox training anymore. But then again, it's Tony Ferguson. Can we believe anything he says? I highly doubt it. So that's the one X factor going into this, I guess, in my opinion. Unfortunately, he's not the Tony of old. No matter how or how much he trains, the old athletic and quick timing freak is gone, and only a shell of that remains. Michael is going to make it competitive with Tony on the feet, and once, not if, he gets Tony to the ground, this thing's a wrap. He was almost able to submit Vicente Luque. He's going to submit 40-year-old Tony Ferguson. It's just a matter of when. With my pessimistic outlook toward this fight, I'm thinking the first round, but I could be wrong. Ferguson might just snap an arm or a leg and survive, like he's done a few times before. One thing I do know is that this is going to be hard to watch, and it's a crime that Tony's on the undercard of a fight night in the Middle East, and a lot of American viewers don't even know he's fighting on Saturday.
It's the main card.
As we saw, undercard, though. It's on the bottom of it. As we saw with Aldo's newest fight, the UFC hates its vets, but maybe a good amount of UFC fans not seeing Tony get submitted will be a good thing in the long run. Yeah,
they hate their vets unless your name is Michelle Watterson. And can you believe we almost had to break down Nick fucking Diaz fighting Vicente Luque? Are you kidding me?
Jesus Christ. That's a double whammy of depression. Then we got, thank you, God, MMA gods. Then we got Marlon Vera versus Davison Figueiredo. Finally, an exciting one.
Yeah, I mean, former champ Davison Figueiredo versus former title challenger Marlon Vera. Close fight. I think either guy can win. The problem with Marlon Vera is if he doesn't win the rounds, which he never really does, he's not going to win the fight. What's up?
Hey.
What's up, Rafuko? Good to see you, my friend.
And I got my opinions on this card. I really like what Dana White's doing with that guy over in the UAA. Keep up the good work, Dana. And UFC just keeps growing and growing. I'm glad that they restarted that trial because it just gives the UFC more reason to just destroy that case and make UFC look really good, you guys. So UFC is better than ever. And I think that's what Rafuko would say if he entered the live chat. But I got Davison Figueiredo. Wait, did you finish your analysis of this fight?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I got Davison Figueiredo. I got Figgy by decision. I just remember that when Cheeto fought Corey Sandhagen, he ended up on his back for a majority of those rounds and at times didn't even make an attempt to get up while Corey was on top. I feel like a very similar story is going to play out if Figgy can get Marlon Vera down to the mat. From what I've seen, Figueiredo has adjusted very well to the bantamweight division despite his smaller size. And I think a big reason for that is his renewed integration of the takedowns into his game. He was able to take down Rob Font and avoid his punches, while Vera was getting pieced up on the feet by Font and had very little grappling offense for him. He also took down Cody Garbrandt, who was taller than him, and found a way to tap him. The old expert BJJ Figgy is back, in my opinion. And I think that that will be on full display against the basic and largely passive and very slow skill level of Marlon Cheeto Vera. He stays out of trouble on the feet against Vera and gets him down at least 2 out of the 3 rounds for a unanimous decision victory. Simple stuff, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Cheeto is in his last fight, we watched him take a hellacious beating from Sean O'Malley. But I got news for you. Davison is not Sean O'Malley. So I don't think he's going to outstrike him in that way.
Really?
But as I was saying before Hank the Tank cut me off with his Rafuko impression, Cheeto loses the rounds till he wins. That's how he wins fights, is he knocks you out. And if he can't land that knockout strike, he's not going to win this fight. There is a world where he just is a better striker than Deuce de Guerra. But it's hard for me to pick a former champion at flyweight who arguably should have already been at bantamweight a lot longer than he has been. So yeah, give me Davison by decision. And I love Davison up at bantamweight, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think this is a great matchup, actually.
All right, nice. Well, I can't wait to see it. Finally, we got our cursed co-main event with the one-eyed freak, Nurmagomedov against Macau, my tummy hurts, Oleg Zaitchik. What's your breakdown of this one?
So there's a question on Nurmagomedov if he can even fight in the USA because his eye probably won't pass a medical inspection. Seriously, I don't think he has the good vision out of that eye. That's probably why.
You should have told Bilal that, but he keeps fighting.
If this was like a couple of years ago, I would pick Oleg Zaitchik in this fight. Oleg Zaitchik, as you're probably going to go over, posted on social media. Somebody, I guess he's been getting grilled by Polish fans since he's been on this losing streak as of late. And they're like, "Are you going to retire after you get knocked out?" And he's like, or they said, "Are you going to go to KSW after you get knocked out?" And he said, "No, I'm done with sport." Is that a troll job? Is Michael Oleksiejczuk playing 4D chess with us right now? Maybe, but from what he's looked like in the cage in the last few fights, he's looked just terrible, like a shell of himself.
Might be pulling an Alexander Volkov, where it's like, yeah, Sergey, he beat me up in the sparring, and I couldn't deal with the power, and then all around just dusts him. Hey, it's the desert, and it's the exact same hype job
and
going.
The thing about Oleg Zaitchik is it just me or has he lost muscle mass?
Yeah, I think so.
Like he's not training as hard, you know? Yeah. I know that Oleg Zaitchik can wrestle. So if he can hold Shara down, he can win this fight. But I just can't pick against Shara in this spot. And for that reason, though I'm not counting out Oleg Zaitchik completely yet, though I probably should. I'm going to pick Magomedov by decision. I can totally see him getting the knockout that he desperately needs in this fight to move him up the rankings and gain some excitement out of him. But yeah, I'm going to pick Shara tentatively by decision.
We got some comments in the chat. I agree with you 100%, and I agree with Hank 200%. Well, you know, you got your little bias in there, Andrew. You're a based one, but let's not get too based here, Andrew B. And then we got Juice Man. I'm at Baskin Robbins line and got the channel up. Thank you. Speaking of based, Juice Man's listening to our podcast everywhere. I got cheated by decision. One eye. Tell
us which one of those 31 flavors you're getting.
Yeah, give us your Baskin Robbins order. Are you getting ice cream?
Everybody give us your Baskin Robbins pick in the chat.
Yeah, I like baseball nut. No Diddy. Huey Brew training.
Where the fuck is Sean? Dude, Sean, we're gonna take away your moderator privileges if you don't put the no Diddy counter in the chat.
Censor these comments, damn it. Regulate the masses. That's fair. All right. Next, so my pick for this one is I've got Nurmagomedov by round 2 KO. Ooh. I'm pissed off that Nurmagomedov is still finding success in the UFC, despite his rotten performances at the highest level and the one-eyed freak's horrible track record as a competitor and as a person. That being said, Mikhail Oleg is shorter than Shara's last opponent. He has a history of getting hit with body kicks, which works perfectly for Shara's kickboxing style. His southpaw stance plays right into the body kick as well, and he just had his arm snapped by Kevin Holland 2 months ago. All of those factors combined leads me to believe that Shara Bullet's kicking Mikhail's ass and crumbling him with kicks to put him away in round 2. He's been surprisingly fragile in his last 4 fights as Mikhail, and I think Magomedov takes full advantage of that. Shara may have not looked that powerful in his last few fights, but his style is just too perfect for Mikhail, and even if Mikhail shoots the takedown, Shara can stuff at least a few of them or recover from them, like he did with Bruno Silva and Piccoli. And I think that's enough for him to keep this on the feet and then finish Mikhail with the speed and more technical ability. What a nightmare I'm in right now. Living nightmare. I hate that he's still here. Please get
all right. So in our main event at bantamweight, you've got Cousin Umar fighting Mr. Corey, the Sandman, Sandhagen. All right. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of analysis for you. I'll leave that up to Hank the Tank for the most part. The biggest thing about this main event, which I am super, super excited for, is I just cannot pick against Umar in this spot, man. Though the TJ Dillashaw fight, I had Corey winning that. And that was probably TJ's last good performance. Yeah. The Peter Yan loss and the Aljamain Sterling loss. To me, Corey Sandhagen always loses the big one. And what I mean by the big one is the one that's going to propel him into the title picture. He always loses that fight. Listen, I want Corey Sandhagen to win this fight. I really do.
Yeah, me too.
I love Corey Sandhagen's game. I just think that just about everything that Corey can do, the younger cousin of Khabib Nurmagomedov, can do a little better. The only thing that really puts me in a weird spot is that really, really dumb matchup that he had with a man named Beksat, who was making his debut.
Last fight.
Umar got dropped by him. He got hurt by him. And I don't know. I was just like, dude, this is the guy that's supposed to take over the bantamweight division. Come on, dude, against a debuting fighter. I hate it, but, according to people in the know, just like these guys are having a hard time finding opponents to actually sign on the contract. I don't know how true that is or how much of that is Ali Abdelaziz propaganda.
Mm-hmm. As well as UFC matchmaking benefiting Dagestanis that take.
But again, as I've said about Dudkova, Ducheva is the important thing is that you impress when you fight these less than reputable guys, right? Mm-hmm. Umar did not in his last fight. Sandhagen clearly has the better names and better wins on his record. And again, I want him to win. My heart says Corey. My brain says Umar. I don't think he'll finish Corey Sandhagen. If he does,
you're good, Andrew.
Go by submission, probably in the later rounds, third and on. But yeah, give me Umar by decision.
I have Umar by decision as well. Holy crap, dude! We are of the same brain for this card. I think the only disagreement we've had so far is the Sam Hughes versus Victoria Dudkova fight, right? I think for every other one we've had the exact same opponent.
I picked Dudkova.
Oh, you picked Dudkova? What was our disagreement then? Do we even have any? And Alvarez, Gaziev.
Oh, you're picking Elvis Brenner.
The Herbert versus Bedoya fight. I think that's the one.
Yeah, I'm picking Bedoya and I'm picking Alvarez.
Well, congratulations on your win for this event, Skatesman. It was a good contest while it lasted.
No. Look, we're 5-4-1, so we're doing all right, man. It's a close one, so I like it.
That's all I can hope for. I got Umar Nurmagomedov by decision as well. We've even got the way that the fighters are winning the exact same way. It's almost rigged. This is a fight that's been in the making for a long time, which just goes to show how much Dana and his booking staff glaze these Russian and Dagestani fighters so they can win titles only a few years into their UFC runs and provide bank to them through oil dictators as soon as possible. Umar doesn't deserve a fight with Corey Sandhagen. Number 10 taking on number 2 with no legitimate reason as to why they're fighting is a joke. And UFC fans should keep rallying against matchups like these because we're onto their shit. That being said, I still think Umar Nurmagomedov wins against Corey Sandhagen. Oh, also want to mention Ikram Aliskerov versus Robert Whittaker. Are you fucking kidding me? That being said, I still think Umar Nurmagomedov wins against Corey Sandhagen. The Sandman may get a flying knee or a big left hand that stumbles Umar like Beksat and brings us out of our seats like Beksat Almakhan did. But just like that fight, I also think Umar takes it and turns it into takedowns. And I really fear for Corey when he's on his back against Umar. Potential submissions from everywhere. Umar has that inbred grip strength. Even if Corey doesn't tap, I think he's getting held down. And once he gets to his feet, he'll be way more exhausted going into the later rounds than Umar will be. Also, I haven't really rated Corey's stand-up since his fight with TJ, as Idaho Skatesman said. He throws random shit that gets him taken down. If he does that once with Umar, he's going down. And with his fight against Vera, I didn't see a lot of impressive striking or power coming from Corey. Just looking at how he was throwing it, not how it landed on Vera, because his chin's unfair. He grappled Font for 5 rounds as well, so he's not going to be as experienced in the striking come fight night as he's been previously in his career. I just don't see his style blending with Umar's that much at all. And that's not even counting Umar's stand-up, which is dangerous and underrated as well. I think there are too many factors benefiting Umar and hurting Corey in this fight. and it's just going to be a wrestle fuck from Umar for 5 rounds. That's what I'm predicting. No submissions, no knockouts, no nothing. It's nerf for nothing. The Sandman and the Crotch Sniffer are putting us all to sleep again. Rip title run Corey is my final eulogy.
Yeah, like I said, dude, it's just too hard to pick against Umar in the spot for me. And I would love Corey to knock out Umar, to be fair. Yeah, not because I'm a Daggy hater like a lot of you out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think Corey, it would be nice to see Corey reach the promised land and finally get a bantamweight title shot. But UFC just tries to screw him over at every turn they can. So that's what happens. Also, Corey unfortunately just hurt himself in that Rob Font fight, and that didn't help things either. But that's just the luck of the draw sometimes. Into a doctor stoppage, that would be heaven on earth. That just, like the Song Yadong fight all over again, and MMA gods save Corey Sandhagen once again.
So that's it, man. That's the show. Any final thoughts?
There's regional MMA happening right now. We got No Chill MMA doing his live streams. Isha, fingers crossed, is able to get his shit back in order and do some streams because YouTube's been onto him for stupid Ryzen bullshit once again over copyright. So good luck to him. And yeah, there's stuff happening right now. So it's as Ferris Bueller would say, "You're still here." There's regional MMA going on.
Yeah, go to No Chill's stream, you guys. Like his stream, at least. Stop in there and like his stream. Check it out. Stay a while. Isha's doing PFL right now. He's planning on watching the tail end of one. And obviously Rush Hour MMA is doing one right now as we speak. They're doing Fight Companions right now, so go check them out. Get the hell out of here. We got a couple questions. Andrew's picking Corey. Oh, sorry. But Corey, for sure, he deserved it. Yep. Peace, love, and chicken grease, you guys. Hell yeah. Juice Man. That's what's up. Appreciate you, Kiwi. Will you live stream? That's up to Hank the Tank. Jay Rush Hour, exactly.
I don't think I'm going to be able to tonight.
Cool Breeze, dude. We're getting a community built up. We fucking appreciate the fuck out of you guys. And Hank the Tank, lead us out.
All right. You have escaped the war zone. For now. Turkey Al Sheik, what a piece of shit he is. Dana White, what a glazed job this guy does. Down goes Dana! Down goes Dana! I think they just broke his arm. They pulled on it so tightly with that armbar. He's out! He's out, and he's in a neutral corner, just hanging out against the ropes. Holy Toledo! Whoa.